Hello, my name is Patrick.
My name is Amy.
I'm Sandy.
And we're here to talk about gay and lesbian marriage and differences that they have with heterosexual marriage. With such a separation of church and state, why do we have such a problem with gays and lesbians being married? Isn't it a fraction of the Declaration of Independence and the pursuit of happiness?
We're also going to talk to you about some current events and things that have happened over the past few years, things that are happening today, as well as some random conversation we should have.
According to the Oxford English Dictionary in 1902, T.M. Lindsay in Church and Ministry in early century said, "In such a solemn action as matrimony, the blessing of the church should be joined to the civil contract."
So these are some of the legal rights that married couples have that gays and lesbians are denied during their civil unions. Tax benefits are able to file joint income tax returns with the IRS and state taxing authorities. Can create a family partnership under the federal tax laws, which allows you to divide business income among family members. Estate planning benefits can inherit a share of your spouse's estate. Receives an exemption for both estate taxes and gift taxes for all property you give or leave your spouse. Creating life estate trusts that are restricted to married couples, including QTIP trust, QDOT trust, and marital deduction trust. Obtaining priority if conservator needs to be appointed to your spouse, that is someone to make final financial and or medical decisions on the spouse's behalf. Government benefits, receiving pension plans, Social Security, Medicare, and disability benefits for spouses. Receiving veterans and military benefits for spouses, such as those of education, Medicare, and special loans. Receiving public assistance benefits, employment assistance and transitional services for spouses of members being separated from family service, continued commissary privileges, per diem payment to spouses for federal civil service employees when relocating. Threats against spouses of various federal employees is a federal crime. Employment benefits, obtaining insurance benefits through spouse's employer, taking family leave to care for your spouse during an illness, receiving wages, workers' compensation, and retirement benefits for a deceased spouse, taking bereavement leave if your spouse or one of your spouse's close relatives die, medical benefits, visiting your spouse in a hospital, intensive care unit, or during restrictive visiting hours in other parts of the medical facility, status as next of kin for hospital visits and medical decisions where one partner is too ill to be competent. Death benefits, consenting to after-death examinations and procedures. Wrongful death benefits for surviving partner and children. Decision-making power with respect to either a deceased partner will be cremated or not, where to bury him or her. Inheritance automatically in the absence of a will. Spousal exemptions and to property tax increases upon the death of one partner who is co-owner of the home. Joint leases with automatic renewal rights in the event one partner dies or leaves the house or apartment. Inheritance of jointly owned real or personal property through the right of survivorship, which avoids the time and expense of tax probate. Family benefits, filing for step-parent or joint adoption, receiving spousal or child support, child custody and visitation if you divorce, applying for joint foster care rights, including custody and visitation, dissolution of divorce protection, such as community property and child support, domestic violence protection orders, right to enter into a prenuptial agreement, housing benefits, living in neighborhoods zoned for families only, automatically renewing leases signed by your spouse, consumer benefits, receiving family rates for homeowners, auto, and other types of insurance, filing joint filing of customs claims when traveling, receiving tuition discounts and permission to use school facilities, other consumer discounts and incentives offered only to married couples or families, other legal benefits and protections, suing a third person for wrongful death of your spouse and loss of consortium, suing a third person for offenses that interfere with the success of your marriage, such as alienation of affection and criminal conversation, claiming the marital communications privilege, which means a court cannot force you into disclose the contents of confidential communications between you and your spouse during your marriage, receiving crime victims recovery benefits if your spouse is a victim of a crime, obtaining and residing benefits for non-citizen spouse, visiting rights in jails and other places where visitors are restricted to immediate family. Most of these legal and economic benefits cannot be privileged or privately arranged or even contracted for. For example, absent a legal marriage, there is no guaranteed joint responsibility for partner and to the third parties, including children, in such areas as child support, debts to creditors, taxes, etc. In addition to private employers and institutions often give other economic privilege.
When a loved one is in the hospital, you naturally want to be at the bedside, but what if the staff won't allow it? That's what Janice Longbin, a social worker in Lacey, Washington, says she experienced when her partner of 18 years, Lisa Pond, collapsed with an aneurysm during a Florida vacation and was taken to a Miami trauma center. She died there at age 39 as Ms. Longbin tried in vain to persuade hospital officials to let her visit, along with the couple's adopted children. Ms. Longbin says that a hospital social worker informed her that she was in an anti-gay city and state, and that she would need a healthcare proxy to get information. The worker denies having made this statement. As the social worker turned to leave, Miss Longbin stopped him. I said, "Wait a minute, I have those healthcare proxies." She called a friend to fax the papers. The medical chart shows the documents arrived around 4:15 p.m., but nobody immediately spoke to Miss Longbin about Ms. Pond's condition. During her 8-hour stay in the trauma unit waiting room, Ms. Longbin says she had 2 brief encounters with doctors. Around 5:20, doctors sought her consent for a brain monitor, but offered no update about the patient's condition. Around 6:20, 2 doctors told her there was no hope for a recovery. Despite repeated requests to see her partner, Ms. Longbin says she was given just one 5-minute visit when a priest administered last rites. She said she continued to plead with a hospital worker that the children be allowed to see their mother, even showing the children's birth certificates. Miss Longbin says she was repeatedly told to keep waiting. Then, at 11:30 p.m., Miss Pond's sister arrived at the unit. According to the lawsuit, the hospital workers immediately told her that Miss Pond had been moved an hour earlier to the intensive care unit and provided her room number. At midnight, Miss Longbin says her exhausted children were finally able to visit their unconscious mother. Miss Pond was declared brain dead at 10:45 that morning. In her lawsuit, Miss Longbin says, "We want to send a message to hospitals. If they don't treat families as such, if they don't let patients define their own circle of intimacy and give them the dignity and care to wait their loved ones in this sort of crisis, then they will be held accountable."